Hello and welcome to my channel. I am on my way to a dealer. I'll tell you all about it. Welcome back and thanks for being here. I am in Central California and unexpectedly on my way to a dealer for parts. If you watched my last video, then you know that I had been having a performance problem, a cylinder 3 misfire, and an EPC light. I still couldn't really wrap my head around why everything was pulling fine along the east, but not out west. So I was speculating that maybe it was a fuel quality issue, because out here I'm running 91 octane, and in the desert southwest I wasn't getting my hands onto any top tier fuels. I was just using whatever premium unleaded I could find, unfortunately. But now I've been in Southern California and Central California fueling up on top tier fuels, and the problem still persisted. I had plans today, and my mother's memorial services this afternoon, so I had plans to run out to Sequoia National Park early this morning with my brother and his family, and I hate to do it, but I sent them alone. And I am on my way up to Fresno to pick up some Volkswagen coil packs. I know I could get better coil packs. I just watched an ECS video where they talk about the stock coil packs blowing out, and I want to question you guys about that. Give me a minute and I'll get back to it. I know I could get aftermarket coil packs, but I just don't want to mess around on a trip. I'm just going to get the factory coil packs. Yes, they're a little more expensive, but guess what? I've been running factory coil packs for over 100,000 miles now, and this is the first time I've had a problem with them. So I'm going to go ahead and get them and hope that fixes my problem. I hope that I don't got to mess with spark plugs, because I don't have a spark plug tool with me. And I'm sure the dealer's going to frown on me changing coil packs in their parking lot, but I'm going to do it anyway. If it turns out that the coil packs fix my problem, then I'll be thrilled, and if not, then I guess I'm going to stick around there at the dealer and have them fix it and hope it's nothing major. And I kind of don't think it is. I'm optimistic that it is just the coil packs. So speaking of the coil packs, this ECS video, I wanted to make sure that I had everything I needed to change it, because I've never done it before. And I know it's easy, but I still had never seen what was necessary for the job on a Mark 7. In ECS's claim, gosh, I really hate to run their name through the mud, because that's not my intention, but I'm a skeptic, so I question things like this. Their claim is that the factory coil packs blow up when subjected to the additional stresses of a tuned ECU. I've been running tuned and towing for over 70,000 miles, maybe even longer than that, 80, 90,000 miles. I've been stage 1 since 15,000 miles and stage 2 since 35,000 miles. So I've got a lot of miles under my belt with the tune, and I wouldn't say that my coil packs have blown up as a result of the tune. But I'm curious to know something, because my understanding is of how this works is the ECU says, okay, spark, and so it sends a high voltage to the coil pack, and then the coil pack probably amplifies that to a spark voltage, and then the spark happens. And it's the same spark every time, and if there needs to be more advance, which is how the more power works, then the ECU just adjusts that spark to happen sooner. It's my understanding, and I could be wrong, that's what I'm going to ask you guys. Does a tune make the spark greater? Is there more spark under acceleration? A small spark if you're cruising along like I am right now, and then a big spark if you're going to accelerate? Or is it just a spark? I thought it was just a spark, and it was all fuel related. More fuel for more acceleration, the same spark ignites the fuel. Am I wrong? Or are the claims that an upgraded coil pack is anything other than just more durable? Is a spark a spark? Is a coil pack a coil pack? Let me know. I mean, if I were to buy an aftermarket coil pack, I wouldn't feel that I'm buying a coil pack that gives me less of a spark, although that could be the case. But what I do think that I'd be getting is a less durable coil pack. maybe one that will be made out of more brittle plastic, or just subject to failure, right? But not necessarily a weaker spark. Put in the comments below what you think, and I will be back in just a moment for you. It'll be about an hour for me, to let you know if the coil pack fixed my problem. And if it didn't fix my problem, then this is going to turn into a dealership visit, diagnosis, have them fix it, and hope that they do not flash my ECU or overwrite the program. I would hope that they would not, because of the APR downpipe. But if they flash this thing back to stock and I've got the APR downpipe, it's going to create nothing but problems. So I'm going to, I'll put a big ugly note on the steering wheel, say no flash. I don't know, but I'm being paranoid. I think way ahead in so many different directions all at one time, and I don't necessarily worry about things when I shouldn't worry about them, but I still think about them. So I think about this and what happens if this, and if I go this way and this way and this way. I guess it's like playing chess. So, all right, I'm babbling. I'll be back. That dealer visit was disappointing, to say the least. Well, that sounds like an exaggeration. They don't have the parts. And that's disappointing, because coil packs seem to me that they would be a relatively common part. But it just goes to show you that if you drop your car off at a dealer and it takes more than a day to repair it, this is why. Inventory costs money, and so dealers aren't inventorying as much stuff. I guess they don't consider a coil pack to be a consumable item. They don't even have one. And the strange thing is, there's 2 dealers here in Fresno, and then there are no other dealers in the whole region. And so he looked around, I don't know where, but he says nobody has all 4 in stock. So I don't know if that meant that this dealer had one and this dealer had one, and where those dealers are. But he can get the parts to me tomorrow, which probably means that he can have a warehouse delivery dropped off today, because he basically said that I could show up first thing tomorrow morning and they'll be there. And again, that's the disappointment, is that I couldn't just walk in and get the parts. The car is driving fine as long as I stay out of the power. I am doing 72 here right now, and without the trailer, I'm not in the power. I mean, I do have the cargo box on the car, which is adding a little to it, but I mean, I'm sure you can hear the car working a little bit. I'm not using 6th gear. I'm keeping my RPMs up a little bit. I'm at 2,800 at 70 and 5th. I'm mission oriented, so my mission first and foremost is to attend my mother's memorial service this afternoon, and I'm going to get back to my hotel with plenty of time to spare for that. My next most urgent mission is to take the cats home. I'm going to extend my stay in her town for one more day. That way I've got some breathing room to get back up to Fresno to get the parts and install them, and hopefully that fixes the problem. And if it doesn't, then I guess we'll see what they have to say. But I'm hoping it's just the coil packs. My wife and I have plans to drive to the coast, and then maybe we'll be able to squeeze in that Sequoia trip. My brother and his family will have already flown out of town by then, as will my daughter. So we'll use tomorrow to see the sights that we had hoped to see this morning. And then we'll grab the cats and take off Saturday morning. It's a day later than we planned and hoped, but I'm looking to reshuffle a lot of things anyway, because these past few days have been very stressful as far as a 600-mile drive, and just squeezing all that driving into a day, and with 3 whiny cats behind me. Yeah, I want to shorten the days a little bit. It's going to extend the trip a little bit, I think. So we'll see how that goes. I already need to cancel all of my hotel reservations along the route that I had planned, because I'm seeing snowy conditions already, and I just don't want to be stuck in that mess. So I'm rethinking my route, especially if I'm shortening my days. I'll touch back in just a minute it'll be tomorrow for me, but a minute for you. And hopefully by then I will have good news on how this turned out. Oh, and check out the shirt I wore in honor of this occasion, because I know if I was posting this in Facebook, everybody would be saying, part out, part out. So this was appropriate. I was hoping to be wearing this while I was fixing the car, but no, I'll be in something else. Tomorrow's another day, repair. Yeah, I'll be back. A quick wrap up on the cylinder 3 misfire issue. I went ahead and bought 4 coil packs, installed them. The number 4 was terrible. There's like a stud that sticks out of the head that you remove. So you put the stud down and that kind of holds the coil pack in place, and then there's a ground wire that you slip over top of that with a terminal lug ring, and then you put another 10 millimeter nut on top of that. Well, the 10 millimeter nut was jammed. It was like they put a 10 millimeter on the stud and then jammed that nut into place, and I couldn't get it out. So my goal was to just put on 3 and I would take care of that 4th one later. But replacing the 3 did not fix my problem. And at that point, it's like, all right, I'm at the dealer, I might as well just have them take a look. So they took a look. I had them go ahead and install that 4th coil pack for me, and check the spark plugs, and no, the spark plugs were good. So then they checked compression and leak down. They were all good. They did a bore scope on the cylinder, so I don't have anything melted or in bad condition in there. And then their next suggestion was to replace the fuel pump and fuel pump controller card to the tune of about $750. And that just didn't make sense to me. And it kind of didn't make sense to the service advisor either, because if it was a fuel delivery problem, then it would be consistent across all 4 cylinders, not just the one. And as I stated earlier, they just don't have parts. So it was Friday, and they weren't going to be able to get the part until Monday anyway. And I don't want to stick around here in California for another 3 days, only to find out that the other $750 that I sunk into this didn't fix the problem. I called my mechanic over in Virginia, described what was going on, told them what the shop did, and he thinks I have a bad injector, number 3. Regardless, both the dealer and the mechanic said it's safe for the engine for me to drive it across the country, and so I'll get it home. We are going to cut some of our attractions out of the drive just because I want to take a more direct route, and I get the feeling a lot of what I wanted to see, I think, is going to be snowed out. For example, we were going to go to the Sequoias. Now, this episode with the dealer has cut into that part, but my brother and his family went up. They took my daughter as well, and they didn't even get to the attractions in the Sequoias that I wanted to see anyway, because too much snow and ice, change required, and I'm not chaining up this car. And so I think it's going to be the same condition if I were to decide to continue on to the Bonneville salt flats. Aren't that important to me. It would have been cool, but not a big deal. Pikes Peak I was really interested in, but I bet they're snowed and iced out as well. I'm not going to go all the way up there just to find that out. There are still some things along my trip that I want to see that I think I'll be able to see on a southern route. I just won't be able to tackle as many states as I thought I would. In the end, what I'm going to wind up doing is I'll get home. That's when I'll take this car to my local shop with the guy that I trust and let him do his thing with it. If it's a bad injector, I don't know why the dealer didn't check it, why they didn't catch it. It's a cylinder. If it's one cylinder, why didn't they focus on the one cylinder? I can't speak to that. I don't know if the tech was new or what. So if I'm going to go ahead and close this off for now and continue on with the trip and some trip reports, and I'll tell you more. I'll follow up with this after. So basically what I've spent on this was about $250 for the coil packs, which didn't fix my problem. But that's not terribly disappointing because it's not a bad thing to replace them anyway. And now I have 4 spares, which are old, but they're spares nonetheless. And the diagnostic stuff, that came out to like $330. But at least at this point, I know my cylinders are clear. Compression is good, leak down is good. And yeah, it kind of sucked to pay all that and not get any results, but at least I know what it is, and my mechanic doesn't have to do that. So yeah, I'll let you know how things turn out. So thanks for watching.